Last week, I went on a wild rant. There's so many points that I wanted to bring up in that video, but I actually forgot one that's really, really important. We'll talk about that in a second, but in this video, you are actually going to see the clearest example of why what I described in that 45-minute video is a problem in Mythic Plus that needs to be fixed ASAP. You're going to see it like as clearly as it can be illustrated. So no real point waiting around. Let's get right into it. We have a freehold 15. This was submitted by a viewer and it ends up being a very poignant key here. You will notice we already have 16 deaths and the timer is getting a little close. The Demon Hunter tank says, low pull, no mistakes, and we will time it. Well, if they did that, we wouldn't be making a video on it now, would we? So we're going to go up here and pull this pack. This is not really anything abnormal. It's just the pack, and we are going to straight up wipe to it here. I guess it's just your standard like damage coming in here. The healer was drinking. That's the guy who sent the footage. A lot of things just like not being kicked or stopped, and then yeah, the Thundering Squall just destroys the group. So they're just going to straight up wipe to a pack that was like, I mean, there's nothing done wrong there. You didn't pull too many mobs. There wasn't any mistakes made of how they pulled it. So we're doing the patented, like, let's continue to fight the mobs even though we wiped to it thing where we're just running back to the start. Not really an issue, but the Demon Hunter tank says, well, there that goes. Now the mage in the group then retorts with saying, hey, can we just finish it? So the tank gets back up here at this point, gets hit by the frontal. I'm pretty sure he's not playing very well, but you know, it's a 15 fortified. You would think that pretty much any tank could solo something like this, especially at this low health. He doesn't though. He ends up dying. And as we turn the corner, we see the Hearthstone being cast by that fella. The mage, once again, remind you what he says. He says, let's just finish it. The guy goes, fuck that. Have fun, guys. So that's the video. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys in the next one. Now, I mean, I don't even know what to say at this point. They're like 2 minutes away from being done. They just wiped. I mean, I don't really have a lot to say about the actual footage. This is obviously not a very good run. Things don't go well. Okay, well, that's welcome to Mythic Plus. But this behavior is specifically what I wanted to talk about today. Before we talk about it, let's get some of the caveats out of the way. If you guys didn't watch that like 47-minute rant video, we talked a lot about like different reasons that this is a problem and different solutions to it. But since we have such a great example in front of us, let's apply some of that directly to this. So we talked a lot about maybe if it is your key, you have a little bit of control over things, right? Like I always say, like, it's being super selfish if you're not the key holder and you choose to leave the key without the key holder wanting that to happen. So to be fair, in this group, the Demon Hunter does appear to be the key holder. I don't have any proof that he's not the key holder, but I do notice that he appears to be queued with this Drago person, the evoker in the group. So you kind of get this little catch-all here where both of them might be the ones to say, hey, we want to stop. I tend to forgive that just because obviously if it's your key, it's all the marbles on that. Like you're in control of that. So sometimes there's extenuating circumstances here, but I would tend to understand if somebody wanted to stop their own key. In this specific case, though, I don't fully understand it. Like it's a 15. What does doing the 14 again benefit you? Like I don't really understand that part of it. The thing that really bothers me is somebody actually asks him to just finish the dungeon. And not only does he say no, but he says, fuck that. Like there's no way I'm considering doing this for you. The guy's sad too afterwards. And it's just like all around bad. Like no matter who you want to blame for this key not being upgraded, if somebody actually wants something out of the social part of the group and you deny him, that's a little selfish in my eyes. And we hear this argument like all the time, like I'm only here for score, bro. But it's like, this is a 15. The guy's best key is actually a 14, so even if you finish that out of time, I'm pretty sure he still would have gotten some score for it. Presumably maybe for gear. Like, I really don't understand why this mentality would happen, period, in such a low key. But all the common tropes that you hear about why people do this, it just kind of falls apart, and it just looks ultra selfish when somebody literally asks you as the tank to just finish it. You're on the last pack of the dungeon. But so no matter what side of the argument you're on here, there is a very important topic to be understood. For some reason, this guy feels it's pertinent to leave this group with like half a pack left and then one boss. You might not have caught it also. They're over count. I don't know where he ends up getting all this extra count, but like, yeah, they're over count at the end there. They don't even need that pack, so they're over count anyway. That's an easy way to get under time. Don't go over count in a dungeon like this. Anyway, besides that, this guy chooses to leave. That needs to change one way or the other, regardless of what side you're on here. It just shouldn't be this way. There needs to be some change to this system to encourage all 5 of these players to stay for 5 more minutes and finish this thing that they just spent 30 minutes in. My solution that I presented in that video is clear. A currency to encourage players to finish keys, not just upgrade keys. Right now, a lot of the talking points are always around Mythic Plus Raider IO score. Blizzard incorporated it. They didn't really expand on it as much as I'd hoped they were going to. So we have this weird situation where players still only care about score, and score comes in very limited ways. So instead, what they should be doing is encouraging there to be some progression inside the key, even when it's not in time. I feel like my currency idea is the perfect solution to that. If you have somebody who only cares about score, then they'll probably want to do the best key they can. And so if you can get them to farm other people's keys so they can improve their own key, they'll be more likely to actually care about each dungeon they sign up to. Then all of a sudden they'll be more concerned with just finishing the key. Like they might sign up to a key that they don't even need score from just to try to get something for their key to benefit their play after this dungeon over. And we already have precedent. We already see this type of thing all the time where you see people list keys that they believe are very easy, hoping to attract players who have a key that maybe is a little bit lower than they might want, but their score is higher than the key level that this guy is listing, and they call it re-rollers only. That's the system already implemented, a quarter of the system already implemented and working great. So I think it proves that that's something that players would already flock around. People would already join other people's keys in hopes of getting some benefit for their own key, and it would solve this problem entirely. But yeah, in terms of the important thing that we said at the beginning, the number one issue with this is it has created this weird loophole where people leaving think they're doing something better for their progression than just staying. And you see it a fair amount. You see people saying, I will not stay for this key because I do not want an untimed key on my Raider IO sheet. That is so counterproductive, like unbelievably counterproductive, and it should not exist. Like this is a loophole. This should not exist. Raider IO is supposed to show whether or not you succeed, whether or not you fail. The Blizzard API does not allow them to show a key that is not finished. So by exploiting this loophole, you make yourself look better than you are. But by leaving the key in this way, you're basically like taking like the coward's way out. Like you can't run from that. If it was a perfect world, everybody would know that this happened and maybe you'd be more selective about the groups you're joining or the people you're inviting. But you have this like weird loophole where you're able to just be like, hey, bail out, nobody will ever find out. One way or the other, we have this environment where leaving is not only socially acceptable, but it's kind of becoming the norm. I really just can't understand it. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, especially on a key level like this, what the incentive is to not just finish this dungeon, especially so late in the season. And nothing even really gets said. Like, there's a couple weird interactions in this key. I don't know why stuff like this cracks me up like it does, but like this kind of thing right here always makes me laugh. The guy says, SHOPOTM, then a space, then EM. I have no idea what that guy's trying to say. Shapotamum. That's shapotamum, yeah. Never goes on to clarify either. But here's another funny moment. Like, this stuff just cracks me up. The guy's in the barrel and he just types help. He just types help. I'm pretty sure you can get out of this as a mage too, by the way. But anyway, instead of just doing any of that stuff, he's just going to type help. It's like, I think at this point, people probably know that they got to break the barrel out, right? That stuff kind of cracks me up, but it's really not like an issue. Like nothing's being said, no toxicity. Later, the Demon Hunter says, hurry and get mana before the mage pulls again, lol. So maybe there was a little kind of like hostility between these two guys. I don't really know what. I don't see any indication that the mage is pulling anything. Maybe the mana was like lower than the tank thought it should be or something like that, and the healer wasn't drinking. Like, I don't really see any issues here. Other than like the tons of deaths for 15, it's really, the keys ran fine. Yeah, ultimately, if that guy just had the right count, they wouldn't have had any issues timing this, it looks like. I still can't even really tell how they wipe. Like, let's watch it again. Healer's back there drinking. I think that's big part of it because now everybody's starting low. This is like, yeah, really not what you want to do here, especially with the boss coming up. Like, let's just not drink there. And yeah, just pretty much just not getting what we need there. Spirit Link goes down, which is a good thing, but it's just way too late, and then people aren't getting healed up quick. But yeah, Thundering Squall just doesn't get kicked. Now, we don't have any kick indicators on the screen, but obviously we see that the Resto Shaman does not kick as well. So that's just horrible. That's going to wipe people no matter what if that spell doesn't get kicked. And then, yeah, that's ultimately the end of the key. Nothing else really that funny in the run, but something does happen here that this kind of tickles me too here. So we're taking this pack, which I think is like just unilaterally a bad decision, but I think the rock elemental aggroes. The dude just stands in the swirl there, but he onks. He's back. Something aggroes this rat. So this is like the trifecta of terrible mechanics. We have two mechanics that you have to dodge, and the tank is fighting them in like the worst possible place. I always try to skip this pack myself and jump down, but instead, he's gonna do this, which is really funny to me. Yeah, so he's just gonna walk across the plank. He's just gonna like backpedal across that like 1 pixel by 1 pixel yard thing, and then the healer's gonna get killed again by it. I love that he gets back and they're still just fighting him on the roof. It's like, why are you fighting it on the roof? It's just one mob, so the healer can't figure out how to get up there, so he ends up running down and accidentally entering more trash. This kind of stuff just makes me laugh so hard. But like, I just don't really get it. Like, why are you fighting that mob on the roof up there? I don't think I've ever seen anybody fight up there. And then this is just like, low keys in a nutshell here. Like, so we aggro this extra trash down here. The mage is like pulling stuff, I guess. Like, this may be what the demon hunter is talking about. You see the demon hunter leaping off over in the corner. Like, he thinks we can just skip these two mobs that got aggroed before. And then after doing that, like, the hunter pets aggro another pat. So we've effectively pulled three things, and the tank probably only wanted to pull one thing. Mobs are like running all around, but that's just a low key thing in a nutshell there, where you just have people like kind of all running around in circles, not really cohesively fighting the same mob. But yeah, anyway, this one's not really about the key, more about the actions. What do you guys think about this type of action? I do think either like a solo queue option, which will encourage like more rule sets to be present. Like we talked about, like potentially the vote to disband. I think that's kind of all that it comes down to. Like, one guy wants to stay, one guy wants to leave, and all it takes is the guy who leaves to ruin the other guy's time, and there's just no repercussions for this. But I do think like the best solution is a currency, is something to encourage people to actually stay and finish keys even when it's not giving them progression. Trying to tip the scales on the whole idea of like, I'm only here for upgraded keys. That's all I care about. Even though like the player should care about it. Like, there's learning to be done. There's gearing to be done. The guys in this group are really under geared for this point in the season. I guess, the season's almost over. I don't know what the incentive is to be doing these keys at this point for these guys, but one way or the other, things don't line up. This kind of thing is really upsetting because you're so close to being done, especially in this case. Like, you're not going to get another key in because you left like 5 minutes early. So let me know what you guys think about this. Next time we see each other, it will be patch 10.2. Looking forward to season 3 starting the following week. This week we'll probably still be doing some keys here and there. So if you guys have any comments or anything that you want to see from this week, let me know. Otherwise, stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.